Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In today's coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state Ethiopia, we continue to have very significant events occurring. As we speak, there are forces of both the Tigrayan Defense Forces and the Oromo Liberation Army now have pressed as many as 70 miles south of the area of Dese and Kombolcha, and are now operating near Jua Hot Springs and the town itself of Jua. Now, that is a very rapid and significant advance that is occurring. We believe at this point, probably operating in this area are most likely major elements of the Oromo Liberation Army, and then further north, the Tigrayan Defense Forces will be continuing down the A2 highway again, possibly towards the goal of eventually engaging and defeating forces. I would assume the next defensive line of the Ethiopian National Defense Forces and or its Amhara militia allies is right here in Debre Sina, or just to the west, maybe a mile or even less along this ridge line, which then becomes a fairly significant plateau with a lot of flat ground leading to ultimately the main prize before Addis Ababa, which is Debre Berhan. But again, this would be a fairly significant defeat if the Ethiopian National Defense Forces has not set up a operational defensive line near Debre Sina. But again, not sure at this point if even the ENDF, the Abiy loyalists, have the ability to consolidate forces that were defeated within the vicinity of Odessa and Kombolcha, and then move those forces into a defensive line to prevent further moves south and southwest. So again, a very, very significant event in terms of how fast some of these forces are both progressing south, and how forces are also from the Oromo Liberation Army are able to maneuver from Oromia north to link up with the Tigrayan army. In other news, we are continuing to get reports of Oromo units within the Oromia Regional Special Forces and Police units are now defecting to the OLA, the Oromo Liberation Army. And now you have to ask, well, why is that happening? Well, one of the major reasons why that is obviously happening is because during the engagements around Dese and around Kombolcha, we can confirm that the Amhara regional militias did in fact commit extrajudicial killings of the some Oromo units inside that were deployed inside of the Ethiopian National Defense Forces. So again, once that sort of news starts to filter out in Oromia among Oromo forces that either are deployed with the Ethiopian National Defense Forces and the Oromia Regional Special Forces. And again, when I say Special Forces, these are simply more of an active duty regional police force that is relatively well armed, but again is not in line with normal special forces units you would see in other nations. But again, very significant event in terms of what is happening throughout the country. Again, when you start to see these types of forces start to defect, and basically they see the ship is sinking, And at the same time, they also see what has happened to some of their fellow compatriots, such as the individuals who were executed near Dese and Kombolcha. Then obviously that is going to be a driving force on whether some of these units actually uh, uh, abandon their efforts on the side of the Abiy loyalists and its interactions with the Amhara militia paramilitaries. As I talked about before, and I'm going to repeat this again and again, eventually we will see the conflict transform where the federal forces quite possibly are no longer a real issue in this fight, in this battle, and it'll be more or less the Amhara regional paramilitaries militias that will form its own army, which it's currently doing. Now, will that completely take over the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, but it will be completely inhabited by the uh, the uh, uh, the Amhara militias, as opposed to any other ethnic groups inside of what is now the Ethiopian National Defense Forces. Again, we'll have to see how that transpires and works its way out. In other issues, there continues to be fighting in the Afar region. So again, uh, Tigrayan defense forces are continuing to press towards the vital B11A1 road junction that would effectively cut off the main Djibouti highway from supplies and other resources coming in from Djibouti. And again, we continue to hear that there's fighting ongoing as the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to press along the B11 and other routes as well towards that goal of Mille and the A1 B11 road junction. Now, with that being said, we do know that Afar units inside of Afar are still resisting the Tigrayan Defense Forces and seem to be still supporting the Abiy Ahmed regime. Now, how long will that last? Will we see something eventually change in terms of their view, meaning the Afar view of what is happening once they see that quite possibly they've passed the point of no return, and eventually the Abiy Ahmed government could quite possibly fall. When that will occur, again, we just don't know. It could happen very, very rapidly. As we know, elements and individuals from the U.S. State Department are currently in Addis Ababa and having discussions with the Abiy Ahmed. So that could that facilitate some sort of circumstance where Abiy Ahmed flees the country. Well, again, we just don't know at this point, but we are continuing to monitor that situation as well, as there appears to be a lot of chatter ongoing about whether the government, meaning the Prosperity Party, the Abiy government, is in fact sustainable. But again, we will continue to monitor the situation. It continues to move very, very fast. Forces continue to move south. And again, we will continue to monitor the situation and give reports as needed. Have a great day, everybody.